How long do you anticipate the U.S. being as involved as it currently is in Venezuela, or is the goal long-term to sort of wean away from Venezuela and allow them to eventually do all of this completely independent of the U.S. without oversight?
Absolutely. That's the goal. That's the goal. Look, we're dealing with the government that was in power before, the remnants of a not good authoritarian regime.
Is it an issue that the person who is leading Venezuela was part of that past regime?
I would say it's the whole government. But we've used our leverage over the finances in Venezuela and the control of the flow of Venezuela to drive improved behavior. But you're starting from a very low base. But the degree of corruption, the political prisoners have been released, the press has become freer, the business climate has changed dramatically. So things are going in the right direction. But look, Venezuela's got a long history of democracy. I think when you see a democratic transition to a new regime in Venezuela, then you'll see the U.S. role pull back. U.S. businesses will be involved. The U.S. government will be allied and supportive of that country. But I think we'll be out of the gear we're in right now.
What do you think the timeline for that is? Because I know that was a question when all of this began back in January that a lot of people had, which was essentially, when will there be sort of a democratic election in Venezuela, and when will the U.S. not have to use so many of its resources to do the oversight that it's currently doing?
Yeah, and on the latter point, we're actually, I wouldn't say using a huge amount of resources. You know, it's a small number of people. We've established a relationship and an agreement, and it's a win. When I was in Venezuela, and when I'll go back, Americans are enormously popular in Venezuela right now. You know, we're the liberators of this country. 75–80% of Venezuelans in a poll are pro-America and pro the transformation that's gone about. So, but most of the activity down there is businesses, private capital, private whatever. So we're not twisting any arms. We're not doing anything. But the short answer is I don't know. I hope it's during this administration, and I suspect it will be. But look, if you look at the main opposition leader down there who recently won the Nobel Prize, Maria Corina Machado, she was asked, like, how quickly could an election be held? And I think her estimate was it would, in the best case, it would take 9 or 10 months from a concerted effort to, we're going to build voter rolls, we're going to establish the institutions to hold an election, to get there. And right now, our central focus is not to build voter rolls, it's to get people paid, to get the currency stabilized, for people to have meals on their table, to get people out of prison, to have money flowing in. So we want to see Venezuela, a lot of the corruption shrunk. We want to see Venezuela moving in a very positive direction. Positive for Venezuela, positive for the U.S., positive for the Western Hemisphere.